Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pod. We have Micah North with us today. Micah is president of Resonant Science since 10 years, so quite a long time. Also see Dust Master here at Dusted. Yeah, he's a fan of a musician that I didn't know Dave Matthews wearing one of his shirt right now. And Micah, I'm just glad to have you on today. Tell us a bit more about yourself and what you're up to.
Yeah, so Charlie, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. So, yeah, myself, I grew up in Tennessee and I went to Virginia Military Institute for undergraduate college, and then went from there to do a PhD in chemistry at Florida State, and then went from there to out to California to work for Lockheed Martin. And spent kind of got my early years of learning the aerospace business and things like that at Lockheed and at Northrop, and then made my way to Dayton, Ohio about 18 years ago, and self and a few other buddies, we started Resonant. That was like 10 years ago now, and so we're about 250 folks now, so have pretty good growth over the past couple of years.
Right. And what did you do at Resonant? Why did you actually left corporate to start your own venture?
Really just kind of felt like we could make things, easier for our customers, that we could, go faster, be more agile, do kind of more go faster, go harder than the big guys. They have a lot of bureaucracy. They have a lot of processes that, are there for good reason in some cases. But they can also be stifling. And so what we wanted to be able to do was respond very quickly to our customers and push out tech as fast as we could and get it out to our customers' hands. So that was
kind of hurdles have you faced in the last 10 years running that company?
I think one of the things, the most important thing for me is to manage the culture of the company. And, we started with 6 of us, and, obviously we're about 250 now. And to me, everything stems from the culture. If you screw up the culture, then you screw up the company. And so that's the thing you've got. There's just no amount of money, there's no amount of contracts or anything that fixes a broken culture. So one of the challenges, I think, is as you grow a company like this, is that how do you maintain that culture and maintain, that vibe and that feel. And that comes down to, the leadership that you empower and the people that you put in place. They've got to share the vision. They've got to share, don't have to have the exact same vision, but they've got to share, kind of the mantra and the same spirit that we do. And then that can permeate the organization. But if you screw it up, there's no getting it back.
And who are your buddies that you started that with? Why were they the good fit for you?
We all kind of brought something unique to the table. Me definitely more on the customer facing side and enjoying kind of the business and business strategy. Even though I'm a technical guy, I really enjoyed the business side of it and building that. The other guys I was more external facing. One of my partners was more internal facing. Definitely, kind of more focused on internal things, processes, things like that. And then the other guys were, hardcore technical guys. And so somebody's got to make the money, So.
Yeah, super important. Tell us about your capabilities and did you start it in the aerospace sector? Did you expand in other sectors? Tell us a bit more about the business and what you produce exactly for whom.
Yeah, so we started it basically as kind of a technology company in aerospace and pushing different areas, structures, electronics, things like that out. And so we're roughly divided into 3 areas, which are advanced apertures, and then our modeling and measurements division, and then our mission systems division. And so we do everything from radomes, which are the cover on the outside of a jet on the nose of the aircraft, also up on the top of the aircraft in some cases for like in-flight entertainment and things like that. So we've done a fair amount of design work for those over the years. Also production and building. So we do a lot of composites work where we're doing, using autoclaves and clean rooms, and then, but everything that we do that's a composite is RF sensitive. So we care about the performance through the structure. So how the antenna is going to respond, how the sensors are going to respond behind that. So that's the advanced aperture side of the house. We also do a lot of antennas that integrate onto vehicles, both ground and air, and then a fair amount of work in modeling and measurements, where we'll look at a lot of what it's called computational electromagnetic modeling. So understanding, the RF performance of structures and antennas and things like that, and the trade space for that. And then the final area is mission systems, where we'll do different types of electronic warfare, electronic protection. So how do we deal with interference on platforms, things that are being interfered with, and which happens, anything that transmits and receives has interference issues. And so how we protect those systems, we do a lot of work in that area as well.
As a guy that always has put security and testing first, what do you have to say about what happened at Ocean Gate?
I don't really know many of the details about that. I just know that the world is certainly becoming more dangerous in those respects. But I haven't really ever dug into that one or read much about it. What all happened there?
Right. What is your current security or safety systems is more the question. For example, SpaceX, right? Like they take risk, but they also ensure security. I think it's like the right equilibrium vs being risky and shipping too early, for example, in the sake of profits, right? So what's your risk management model over that?
Got it. Yeah, no, I mean, everything that we do is, has to be thoroughly tested and vetted. We typically will work to requirements that a customer will, kind of back to the Ocean Gate thing. Now I'm remembering what you're talking about, the sub that went down. That was an interesting documentary. That's just bad all the way around. That was just bad. It's just bad. I wouldn't even qualify as engineering as much as bad. But
I think they were just lacking funds, right? Like I think the founders' mentality was either we ship or we go bankrupt. And if I go bankrupt, my full identity is on the line.
Yeah. I think they're obviously safety's got to be first and foremost of everything you do. And to me, that's just if you're putting anybody at danger, that's a real problem. For the types of things we do, we're prescribed, to specifications, requirements, all of those sorts of things that get derived from the customers, from analysis, from all of those sorts of things. We have to go through rigorous testing on all of our products and systems to show that we meet those specifications. Kind of very much like the commercial airline industry. I mean, for example, on some of our in-flight entertainment systems, I wish I could show you the video, but I'm not allowed to show this one. But was things as firing a chicken carcass at a radome to look at the deflection of the radome, and you can see how it absorbs the impact of the system. And so it's a pretty expensive test. It's actually done here in Dayton at University of Dayton. They have a chicken cannon, and they will put the chicken in the cannon and fire him at the radome. It's pretty amazing. And you can watch the deflection all through the radome. But the ultimately, what you're looking at, there's ASTM standards for what kind of bird strike a commercial airline or something like that has to be able to withstand. And so a lot of third party evaluations, things like that. Kind of the Ocean Gate stuff was interesting, just because, like you said, I feel like there was a lot of pressing. There was a lot of, obviously cutting of corners and things like that probably shouldn't have happened, or will definitely shouldn't have happened, that led to the loss of life with all those folks.
What were your main growth mechanisms throughout the year? Do you have a solid GTM system to bring new clients again and again? Was it one specific client that you satisfied and then expanding the range of orders? What do you attribute your 0 to 250 employees growth?
Well, friends buy from friends, number one, right? And so personal relationships is always key in the beginning of these things. So how do you build the right relationships and build the trust? But I mean, nothing sells like performance, right? So you go off and you do great things for a customer. You do it fast. You do it high quality. You don't really have to do a lot of marketing. We've been very fortunate. We've never really had to market a lot. Customers come to us more than us going and trying to win work. People will pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I want, such and such to help on this program or to put this together and lead this." And so, we as we've gotten bigger, we make known our capabilities and what we can do. And we let people come to us and tell us, kind of their ideas and where they have issues or where they have needs. That's kind of, I'd say, one half of the business. The other portion of the business, you're kind of leading into another area, which is I call that the tech pull side of the business. So that's, you've got a problem, or you've got you need an antenna, you need a radome, you need something that meets this specification, right? So you come back to me and you say, "Hey, Micah, I need something that does this, this, and this," right? And so you've kind of got a preconceived, defined notion of what you need, right? That's definitely the tech pull side of the business. The tech push side of the business is very much, we have a product that you've never even thought of, that you didn't even know that you need. And the best example I use is the iPhone, right? Before the iPhone, you didn't know that you needed an iPhone. Now you can't imagine a day without your iPhone. You can't imagine 5 minutes without your iPhone. You want to be able to be connected. But remember, it wasn't that long ago that nobody had those, and we didn't think anything of it. So that's an example of what I say is tech push. It's technology you didn't even know you needed, but then just becomes ubiquitous in your operations. And so we're doing things like that as well, and pushing those early, but pushing those types of technologies in the bounds of what people even thought was possible.
How do you get to that point, though, coming up with a product that your clients don't even know that they actually need it? Because most businesses, they even struggle to give clients what they need and fix their existing pain points. I create go-to-market machines to help them target various ICPs with various offers. That's usually how we find their pain points. I feel that getting to Steve Jobs level and having these ideas out of nowhere, that's pretty much a zone of genius that is not accessible to most. Do you think that most founders should focus on fixing an actual pain point rather than trying to create products that their customers don't even know they need?
I think they can both happen at once. I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And where I'm going with that is, it's not me, right? It's the team of guys that you surround yourself with. And so we have guys in the company that are very, tech push guys that are, thinking, constantly coming up with crazy ideas and wild ideas and thinking about, those sorts of things. And then we have guys that are very product focused that are, kind of back into that tech pull side of the house. So we've been fortunate enough to have guys that can do a little bit of both. And, as we've gotten bigger, we've kind of allowed the guys that do more of the tech push stuff to go off and play land and come up with their ideas. And, and every now and then one of them big will hit, and we can get somebody bought into it. yeah, that's just kind of
But your formula, is it like getting a suspicion that the market would probably want that through conversation, podcast information that you put in your brain, and then you have like a special ops person develop on that idea and come up with a prototype?
Um, sometimes it's just more of a man. Wouldn't it be cool if I could do this? Or wouldn't it be that would be pretty sweet if we could make that happen? Or has anyone ever thought of doing something like this? I don't know. Let's try it. Let's go see what we can make a prototype. I mean, something even crude. Just do something. It can be bubble gum and baling wire. It doesn't really matter, but just being able to pull something together and show the effect sometimes that can get people excited about things. And again, but when you're looking at uh, you know like for example, in-flight entertainment or something like that, you've got a very well prescribed bounds of what people need to interface with their system. So it's kind of a both thing.
Right. It's like being a customer of your own solution. So taking flights, I guess, is one.
Yeah.
Being curious and then unleash your inner nerd, sort of.
Yep.
Talking about in-flight entertainment, I haven't seen or tried good in-flight entertainment in quite a while. And I used to fly probably 10, 20, 30 times a year back then. So what's new out there and what could be actually entertaining for customers? Granted, the airline experience is one of the worst out there compared to all transportation modalities.
Well, I can empathize with the travel. I'm probably on the road about once a week. It seems like, just got back from California last week, or actually on Wednesday night after all day of traveling. Um, but I think things are advancing in the in-flight entertainment systems and the connectivity. The folks that are working that, the partners that we work with, and different companies that are out there are putting a lot of money into it because it is a big market, and the market is still relatively untapped on that. If you go look at the size, I mean, I think there's still just a huge amount of market share that's available out there. Um, but as folks are launching more satellites, you're getting just recently Viasat has launched some more satellites for in-flight entertainment. That's starting to take off more for around the world as they get more satellites up. And then you have companies like Starlink as well that are putting out satellites and putting up systems. And then there's a couple other players out there in the field. I think the technology is constantly advancing, and as in what the amount of bandwidth that we can get down. Fortunately and unfortunately, I guess you could say, fortunately from the investment standpoint, the amount of customers who actually care about connectivity is going up. So that allows more revenues and more opportunities to invest and more opportunities to grow that business area and add more capability. Um, you know, 10 years ago, how many people connected to Wi-Fi on the plane? Not many, right? And think about 10 years ago, right? We were doing ground-based systems, GoGo's kind of ground-based system, and it was reliant on connecting to whatever towers it could see down below, sat on the bottom of the plane, right? And then 2KU came out, a couple other systems, Viasat systems, and set through satellite connectivity, and that became a lot more viable and a lot more efficient there. So those guys are still heavily investing. We're working on the radome side, so the covering on the outside of it. So we build the structures and design the structures on the outside, which the RF design there is can be fairly complicated on those structures. They're actually very complex from some of the design features that they have in them. But I think we're going to over time continue to see this evolve and continue to add more capability. And as there's more dollars going in the business, there's going to be more investment in pushing the technology further.
And as a guy, last question that's burning inside me. You worked at Northrop, and um, Lockheed, right? Like, aren't you worried about the future of like AI in the military space in companies like Palantir or Anduril? Does that cross your mind nowadays with like all these wars raging and that technology being used out there?
Certainly, I mean, I think the AI stuff is interesting, and I think it's going to change, change the industry in some radical ways, and some so what I would call some evolutionary ways and some revolutionary ways. I was with a company, I won't say who, but it was pretty amazing. They took basically AI to write. Basically, they took all their drawings, all their instructions, and they wrote manuals using the AI stuff that it would take in technical writers, you know, weeks to do, and they kicked out in an hour, you know. And so, that allows them to, be able to be more efficient for their customers, put more resources into the engineering and the technology side of the house there. But, I think the AI stuff, I think the full impact of what's going to happen there is yet to be seen. I mean, I think about like how amazing, like you and I could sit and record this and then put it into Sueño.ai and have a song about it in 10 seconds, and a pretty good song. Probably no one might not care about the content, but that'd be a pretty good song. And so from a design standpoint, I think a lot of folks tend to look at the AI as an optimizer, that, hey, I'm just basically wrapping a high power optimizer on it. And I think it's a lot more than that, and a lot more than just a pure optimization problem. But, I don't think AI is going to be constrained just to, the defense and aerospace industry as much as we're going to see it, everywhere, and affecting every piece of technology. I think what concerns me is, do we start to lose that human touch on, the arts and the things that are out there? Like, I don't know that, can you really replace a Monet or a Degas or something like that with a AI generated painting? They're pretty cool, but and it's all going to come down to what it learns from, right? And it's a little bit of garbage in equals garbage out, right?
Yeah. Think arts, like short term at least, because there's going to be a generational change in which future generations might prefer AI results rather than human results. I think that's going to fade away. But for now, for example, Monet, we know that the guy himself painted it. At this moment, these are the emotions he went through. These were his times, and that's not replaceable, right? Like for now, until we have a space-time changing technology, right?
Yeah.
Technologies like Suno, for example, it's nice to have songs, but again, the music is like really an emotional component, right? So it's like, what did this person go through when they wrote that song, when they perform it? Oh, they have feelings, I have feelings, I'm human. So I guess that is most of the value. But yeah, some of us like to listen to just good music, whatever the meaning, and we're going to give it meaning once we work, right? So, by the way, I'm listening to Dave Matthews once while we're having this call. It's pretty good, but I don't think that's gonna fade away. Last but not least, I also think there's a point in creating music yourself, right? It's really therapeutic, grabbing like a guitar and playing and the rhythms as a human, because we're so overloaded, so stressed nowadays. So I still think there's a pretty decent value in actually creating music yourself.
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too. I'm a huge music guy. I go from Dave Matthews, Grateful Dead to Wu-Tang Clan. So I span from banjo to beats. So whatever you want. I like it all, and I look at it and I go, well, how you could I can't remember exactly what the name of it is, but it's like a paradox where you can create something that looks human, but the human eye can always recognize it and go, that's not, there's something off, the symmetry's off, something's off, when people try to make something human. And I kind of wonder if that's going to happen with AI, that you're going to be able to look at things and go, yeah, it's not human made. And you won't maybe be able to describe exactly why it's not human made, but you'll just know innately. You know, I feel like that's going to end up, we're going to end up in that spot, but you know, we'll
Yeah.
time, still early, you know.
Yeah, it depends like how well versed you are at recognizing these things. Because, for example, right, when ChatGPT writes some stuff, there's the M dashes, right? That's always part of the copy, and then but at some point the M dashes are gonna disappear. And if you're not much into AI, let's see that you haven't came out under your rock since like 5 years, right? Like you won't know that that AI copywriting style is indeed ChatGPT. So you sort of need to evolve with the market. I think the only worrying thing about like AI in military right now that I'm seeing is that it's quite good IQ wise to actually identify the target and pull the trigger, for example. But EQ wise and ethics wise, it seems that the software is not like super updated as per if it was an actual good decision to go
Yeah.
and shoot that target, right? And I think that would be a probably multi-billion-dollar AI defense company idea to start such a company, right? Like, is this the right target? What will be the outcome if we eliminate that target?
Yep.
Right. And generally speaking, eliminating is really like last recourse, right? So I wish there would be like more efforts done in that field.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's, you know, like I said, it's kind of garbage in, garbage out, or if I know you're training with some sort of, you're training your AI bot, why don't I go in and corrupt your AI, your training, and then I can train your system to do what I want it to do. Right. And those are the types of things I think about with that, you know, but maybe that's the more nefarious side of it where you go, but it's the vulnerable side. I mean, I think thinking nefarious is what leads you to your vulnerabilities sometimes. And that's the things I worry about. I think look, I'm a big technology adopter and I like doing that, but I think there's too many people that rush to adopt too fast without really understanding the consequences or understanding the vulnerabilities of the technology. And because, you know, I mean, the AI stuff may look like the best thing in the world right now, and it may look like, you know, could in some eyes a threat. 5 years from now, we might be talking about something completely different. I go back to this, and I'll leave you with this, as I know we're getting short on the time. But you know, back in the early 1900s, everybody was worried about how we were going to deal with all the horse manure on the streets. In 50 years, that was the problem they were worried about. Obviously, that never became a problem, right? Because cars and automotives and things changed, right? And so the things we're worrying about today may never manifest themselves 20 years from now. You know, they may not, but I think you kind of got to go with the flow a little bit.
Yeah, let's hope that human grit, adaptation, and all of that will come in the mix, and we'll survive that next wave of evolution, which is probably one of the most drastic, way more drastic than the horses. But yeah, let's see. Micah, where can people find out more about you?
On resonantsciences.com. That's the name of the company. And yeah, come check out what we do. And yeah, no, I really appreciate it, Charlie. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoyed talking with you.
My pleasure. So that was Micah, that is, and Charlie.